darling. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be watching some Zero. I really enjoy his videos. The amount of torture that he puts himself through for our entertainment is always just absolutely amazing, and someone really should check on this guy, make sure that he's okay. I really am excited, and I hope you are as well. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing. It would really help me out, and I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's go.
It seems as though my upload schedule has become quite disgusting. So for the past few weeks, I've been looking into new and exciting ways to increase my output and help ensure that I remain a productive and functioning member of this online mental health support group. Oh no. Oh shit. But for me personally, as a borderline danger to society, the best and most unhealthiest option was to just simply record 2 challenge runs at the same time. In today's video, I wanted to see if we could take 5 hours worth of work in Resident Evil 2 Remake and cut it in half by helping Claire and Leon achieve the highest and most coveted accolade in the entire game, both at the exact same time as one another. In just 2.5 hours, we'd need to solve problems nobody asked us to, concoct brilliant yet useless strategies, and even fight against our very own biology to simultaneously achieve an S+ rank in both of the game's A scenarios and continue to blur the lines between entertainment and meeting the criteria to section someone under the Mental Health Act. So open up a fresh pack of prescription medication and confirm your safe word as we take on double the cutscenes, double the tyrants, double the hike, and 16 times the detail in what might just be the most deranged challenge I have ever done.
Ooh.
September 30th, 2026. It's a day I'll never forget, not just because it was the day that Claire Veronica and Scoliosis Kennedy had found a gas station in America selling diesel for $1 a gallon, but it was the day that we finally started this challenge. Actually, that's a really good point. How do we actually start this challenge? $1 diesel might be the most unrealistic part of this game, but surprisingly, trying to play 2 games at the same time by yourself isn't exactly straightforward either. In fact, I'd go so far as to say doing something like this is generally considered an early onset symptom of some kind of personality disorder.
Do I have schizophrenia?
This did mean, however, that half of this problem was already solved, as thanks to me being an exceptionally skilled marketing executive, we could already launch 2 separate instances of RE2 Remake on 2 separate computers. But the real question was, how do we control them? The single PS5 controller we used last time did synchronize our movements across both games, but that challenge took me 17 hours to complete, half of which was spent running into a wall. And considering hardcore difficulty also removes aim assist, if we wanted to PB by 14.5 hours, we'd need a controller that blended efficiency and function with freedom of movement, which is where I found this. The Xbox Adaptive Joystick is a bespoke controller designed by Microsoft for...
I've never seen this before. I honestly thought that it was like a VR controller or something at first when he showed it in the very beginning. I've never seen this before.
Gamers with specific mobility requirements, because everybody deserves the chance to experience the misery of playing RE6 at least once. Oh my God! With a joystick, 8 different buttons, we could configure, and the mandatory requirement of being able to hold 1 in each hand within just a few hours of some highly technical configuration in Steam Input.
You fucking piece of shit.
We managed to fit all 17 inputs for RE2 Remake, including creating a makeshift D-pad, moving and aiming independently from one another, and most importantly, finding a way to move the camera, all onto this tiny handheld joystick. The power to control 2 different games through one partially functioning human had finally been achieved, as we once again re-entered the world of simultaneous survival horror. Returning to the local 7-Eleven, perhaps the biggest problem I faced, outside of these cutscenes being slightly out of sync and triggering my OCD, was my assumption that having 2 controllers now instead of 1 would make moving through both games significantly easier. This, and I cannot stress this enough, is so unbelievably wrong, because playing 2 games at the same time and doing it well was truly one of the hardest things I have ever done.
That's like a different level of being ambidextrous, because surely you're like darting your eyes back and forth. I would get them mixed up on like which controller did like what thing. That has such a steep learning curve, honestly. Does that mean even your eyes and brain are ambi? Maybe, who knows?
As both players were in the back of the gas station watching how the glizzies were made, the millisecond I thought about doing something on Leon's game, Claire essentially gained sentience and started doing whatever she liked, which most of the time wasn't good. Seriously, practicing for this challenge had felt like joining a reverse gym where I'd started the challenge fit and healthy but had left feeling like I'd given myself brain damage. Barely escaping out of the gas station and arriving in town, I was even struggling to walk in a straight line. The moment I experienced even the slightest amount of stress in one of the scenarios, my brain just stopped taking my calls, and there were even times where I'd taken my eyes off Leon for no more than 10 seconds and wondered, how did I get here? Having clearly picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue, the only way I can describe this experience was like if I'd given myself dementia and schizophrenia at the exact same time, which mentally didn't feel great, but the run through the city had helped to warm me up as we successfully navigated both players through to the gates of the RPD, the only police station on Earth where you were 8 times more likely to become a victim of crime once you were inside it. Not quite the beacon of hope you were looking for in an apocalyptic disaster zone, danger lurked around every corner of the precinct and added a significant workload to what was already a very strained brain. But one way we can relieve some of this pressure was by using cutscenes. These temporary visual hydration breaks pause the in-game timer whilst they play, preventing us from being penalised against our S+ rank aspirations when watching them. This means that with a little bit of forward planning, we can use them to keep one player safe whilst we focus on tackling some of the more demanding areas of the game with the other. For example, here at the East Wing Shutter, by leaving Leon with Elliot to help him become half the man he's supposed to be, we can skip that cutscene with Claire to focus on getting her back to the main hall, where once she was with Marvin, Leon could now make his own return trip before handing back over to Claire for her to begin the journey into the West Wing of the precinct. Now, even with the cutscene musical chairs, both players actually have an identical start to the game, with their task being to locate 3 medallions hidden throughout the RPD and use them to open up the secret masturbating office hidden below the goddess statue.
Well, it's very important that we get in there, first of all. Secondly, I was gonna say, I wonder for how long he was gonna keep them in like the exact same like pacing for the story and everything, because keeping them where you're doing kind of the same thing besides like having to like dodge zombies and stuff a little bit differently, like the entire goal being the same on both monitors is probably a huge help.
Something that Marvin seemed very passionate about us doing. So whilst Leon was forced to listen to Marvin crash out about why you can't trust your work colleagues even if they apologise, Claire was already making progress through the West Wing, collecting an additional fanny pack from the office safe before working her way up through the central stairwell towards the spade key. By the time she'd quietly entered the library, Leon wasn't far behind, with both players eventually meeting back up on the second floor of the East Wing to collect their respective weapons locker keycards and arrive just in time to watch low-flying aircraft park in the side of the building. Don't say it. Just don't say it. Don't
Can't park there.
Don't say it. Just don't say it. Mate, you can't park that there. Collecting the bolt cutters in silence, both players now faced perhaps the hardest test of the early game of the challenge, the route.
It's like when you're you see a dad like working a grill and he has the tongs and you gotta like click them together and make sure that they quote unquote work. Okay, there's just certain things that when they happen or you see them that you have to say the thing, and if you don't, it's a missed opportunity. Okay, take every opportunity, say the thing.
Through to the STARS office. Both players would now need to cut through the East Wing office, double back through the opposite wing and back up through the central stairwell, but each of these areas are infested with newly retired members of local law enforcement, making this task a little more complex than just a simple run. Whilst Leon's cutscene does help Claire to focus on her start to this area, they didn't exactly prevent things from going wrong. With this delay losing us valuable starting time, before long, Leon's cutscene was already finished, leaving both players in dangerous situations that stretched my already thin focus a little too far.
Oh no, oh, he's just stuck.
Oh my god.
Whilst
You have
to
to
this day
restart,
I'm
don't
still
you?
not clear where this woman came from, the outcome of death was clearly one we'd be expecting to happen more and more frequently as the challenge progressed. And to me, at the heart of a true simultaneous run is the belief that both playthroughs are interconnected. I didn't want to dilute this message by just going AFK all the time or abusing the in-game menus or pause screens for our own personal gain. So naturally, that meant if one player had the misfortune of being eaten alive in the next corridor over, but the other didn't, to me, this directly contradicted what we were trying to achieve here, which is where Rule 5 came in, decreeing that if at any point either of the two protagonists, or indeed myself, died, then we all died. Death for either Claire or Leon would mean that regardless of the surviving partner's location or status, they would also need to restart the challenge from the nearest available checkpoint, which, with there being no autosaves in hardcore, is all the way back here.
I mean, yeah, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck kind of big bad. Because at first, it's like, oh, checkpoint. Okay, well, that feels a little bit generous. And then, oh, yeah, no, it's hard mode, so there's like no checkpoint. So, oops.
After immediately dying to inanimate traffic, it was clear that if I wanted to beat this challenge before I slipped into a self-induced coma, then we'd need to immerse ourselves in this experience and fully embrace this new form of psychosis. That meant more efficient movement, remaining calm under pressure, and having aim that didn't look like I was suffering from alcohol withdrawal. To me, this was like entering a kind of flow state between the two games. To most medical professionals, this was likely the fastest way to trigger that bulging aneurysm I no doubt had growing inside my brain. However, this weaponization of my new mental illness allowed us to quickly earn back the progress we'd just lost. This time, Claire escaped the East Wing office immediately before nearly ruining it on the West Wing again. Leon somehow managed the complete opposite by almost dying collecting the red valve, but then passed through the West Wing flawlessly. Truly, the duality of man. During this time, Claire had made it through the briefing room, collected the detonator along with the grenade launcher, and had arrived outside the STARS office with Leon not far behind. As Claire went to leave for the library, however, it was here, whilst meeting a man going through extreme opioid withdrawal, that I realised I had a slight, possibly life-threatening configuration problem. You see, having remapped the B button to the outer ring of my joystick so I could automate running without having to hold a second button, that also meant that if I pressed it too far, I'd accidentally begin running and end up euthanizing myself. Not knowing the true trigger point for this change of pace meant that I'd essentially created a reverse dead man switch, except I had no idea how much pressure was needed to detonate it. This was truly Darwin Award levels of innovation, which now forced me to move so slowly that I was practically walking backwards, but did at least succeed in adding a certain level of excitement to my day. Oh shit. 4 hours later, and Claire had finally made it safely through to the unicorn statue, where we can begin the process of removing the illiterate members of the public from the library. Leon arrived up at the STARS office himself shortly after. Now, the last remaining tasks for both players were to organise our inventories, do a bit of feng shui in the library for later, expand the footprint of the 3rd floor, and insert the 3 medallions into the goddess statue downstairs. Saying our goodbyes to Marvin, he embraced Claire like the daughter he never had, whilst he said goodbye to Leon like the son still waiting for cigarettes and milk. But confronting these, unresolved daddy issues, or the emotionally overwhelming experience of returning to a gas station, might not be something we have a choice in. Because hardcore difficulty removes the autosave feature and the S+ requirements limit us to making only 3 saves for the entire game, we had to use them carefully and strategically, and whilst Birkin does influence the location of 2 out of the 3 of these saves, our first boss fight with him wasn't actually one of them. Now, if we die here and I'm forced to go back to the gas station one more time, then I will not be held responsible if I shit all over the forecourt in protest. So, to mitigate any further acts of bioterrorism, most sane people would just send one player into the boss fight first, finish it, and then send the second in. However, that is not the kind of mentally sound and healthy choices that we make on this channel. Instead, what I've done is create several synchronization points throughout the game, which would force both players to meet up at specific locations before they could progress. And would you believe it, the first sync point is here. On paper, Birkin's first boss fight should be a piece of cake. Thanks to the UK's unique definition of FPS, by upgrading our game's performance by downgrading it to look like Terraria, we can unlock additional frames per stab with the combat knife to significantly increase the amount of damage we can do to Birkin in a single slash.
Nice.
That is if you're doing it by yourself. If you're doing it with 2 players at the exact same time, however, there's an almost unlimited number of things that could go wrong. In practice, however, I'd come up with a plan that I executed flawlessly almost every single time, which obviously meant that when it came to doing it in an actual run, everything went to absolute dogshit.
Yep.
Won't work on this thing.
Hello?
Oh no!
Hello?
Leon, what the fuck?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh
Seconds into
no.
the fight, the half of my brain responsible for controlling Leon had just collapsed in on itself under the weight of its own failure, leaving Claire fighting for her life as Leon spun in circles and dribbled on the floor. It was certainly not the synchronized and satisfying delivery I had imagined, but thanks to Claire putting in a shift on both our behalves, Leon was able to claw back what dignity he had left so we could both escape out of here and up to the car park.
Yay!
Which sounds like it should be the easiest part of all of this, but for whatever reason, trying to move Claire and Leon around an identical boss arena whilst in slightly different locations to one another was disorientating me to the point of total organ failure.
I am completely lost with Leon. Where am I going?
Anyways, after calming myself down, we finally found our bearings and reached the underground parking garage upstairs, where the second phase of our terrible yet exciting adventure was about to take on, yet again, another unique dynamic. So far, both player scenarios have been almost indistinguishable from one another. They've gone the same way, entered the same rooms, and used the same items, which has helped to simplify my job somewhat, but now inside the basement, Leon and Claire would begin to go their separate ways.
Oh.
That's fun.
In Claire's scenario, she skips the entire prison complex and half the basement, only needing to collect the diamond key from the morgue and sneak past a group of lickers who are literally eating the dog. In comparison, Leon will be cuckolded in the car park for a bit before having to visit the prison wing to speak with Ben, a British national apparently serving a 45-year prison
remember
sentence
this
issued
guy.
by the UK government for generic terrorism charges. Yeah, Ben, I don't think that's right. So whilst Leon is busy performing a hate crime in the basement, but only if it took place at Crufts, Claire had already taken the secret lift that Chief Irons used to smuggle gay prostitutes into the precinct and started making progress on the story's next objective inside RPD 2. In this hit sequel to RPD 1, the main objective for both players is to find 2 spare electrical units from around the station to fix this fire hazard inside Chief Irons' office and down inside the prison, which would allow us to pay for our parking and progress the story out into the streets of Raccoon City. Claire's first box is here inside the RPD's eastern storage closet, whilst Leon's is inside the basement's power room, with both players converging on the same location in the clock tower for the final one. Whilst we're essentially doing the same thing, both players are now in completely different areas of the game, and are unknowingly moments away from awakening an unstoppable force from inside the precinct.
Under the big guy. That's our big boy.
Thankfully, though, that upcoming mental burden can be softened slightly by reaching the location of our first save to finally secure our progress. Except, not really. The synchronization points I've put into this challenge would not only take place before each of the game's major boss fights, but also at each of the 3 saves we could make. So whilst Leon was still desecrating the dead underneath the RPD and doing his best to answer questions from concerned members of the public, Claire was forced to wait to make her save. We can still use her downtime productively by collecting key items, crafting resources in advance, and clearing out hazards for later, but having incurred an 8-minute loss of time compared to Leon, further losses like this were ones that we simply could not afford. With save 1 of the run now complete, Leon was inside the main hall, whilst Claire was upstairs inside Irons' office, as both players now converged together on the RPD's backyard. Somehow achieving the impossible by missing shots with 2 weapons that it should be physically impossible to miss with, Leon was working on collecting the large cog up on the 3rd floor, whilst Claire was extinguishing the fire raging through the east wing of the RPD. Now, inside the RE engine, even the relentless element of fire is contained to a specific area in the game. You see, enemies all have a specific location they're assigned to. They patrol these areas, but they don't ever leave them, preventing them from following the player around through different rooms and allowing us to plan our journey through to the clock tower with a degree of confidence. This is the exact same for every enemy, zombie, or area in the entire game, with the exception of one. Claire is the first person to awaken Umbrella's newest proof of concept, Mr. X, who was less of a bioweapon and more of a psychiatric problem in a trench coat. His love language was predominantly physical touch, and his job was to now relentlessly stalk you through the precinct to the point of giving you an emotional breakdown. There was no knowing where Mr. X would now show up. Except you would know because it was always the exact moment you needed to go through a specific door. For Claire specifically, this took on an entirely new dimension of horror because I can barely hear anything coming out of my speakers. So being unable to triangulate the sound of bioweapon knuckles dragging along the floor to successfully prevent the game from sending me into cardiac arrest, we'd have to operate purely on instinct as Claire escaped back through to the main hall whilst Leon was busy trying to claim work compo outside. Needing this yellow crank from evidence lockup to create a makeshift bridge to the 3rd floor in the library, Claire would need to open up a connecting door using the club key over on the west wing, whilst Leon would need to use this club key to open up the... Wait a second. Oh no. I have made a terrible mistake.
Uh-oh.
I've gone to the wrong door. It seemed as though the rapidly developing bipolar disorder I'd triggered as part of this challenge was causing me to hallucinate inaccuracies between the two scenarios like I was some kind of AI. Claire actually needs to use the heart key on this door just past the armory, whilst the club door is reserved exclusively for Leon. Now, I'm not saying I was losing my mind, but I have to admit there were signs that I was becoming increasingly on edge.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
And with Leon's own personal space about to become a shared communal area, it seemed as though that frame of mind was only going to get worse.
Uh-oh.
Leon, move. Oh, me.
No! Oh, he's...
Okay, well, I guess we're fucking going then, fuck!
Hello! Hi!
Oh, shit.
Hi! It's all going to shit.
My own shadow just scared the shit out of me, what the fuck?
Once inside the clock tower, Claire was safe, at least for now, and with Leon somehow making it up here himself a few minutes later, both players were moments away from exchanging the proverbial challenge baton at the clock tower door, which was around the time that this happened.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, what a...
No! Oh no!
Dude, what the actual fuck? In what can
Now
only
we're
be
one
described
for
as a freak
one.
accident, it appeared as though the freak was in fact me, and the accident was thinking that I didn't have it in me to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. In isolation, we could probably write off a moment like this, but the mistakes soon began building up. Strange, unexplained moments.
Oh,
Decisions that
no.
were beyond the comprehension of the human mind. I mean, how does someone not notice a 7-foot-tall man dressed entirely in homoerotic leather break down your door and enter your home?
Oh, fuck!
Surely, these were mistakes that I, an experienced player, should not be making. Well, in truth, just like Claire's on attempt 4, my brain is, in fact, becoming smoother. You see, the truth is that I've lied to you. We're not actually playing these games simultaneously. What the brain's actually doing is something called rapid task switching, which is where the brain switches between tasks rapidly. True and effective simultaneous focus on 2 complex tasks is actually physically impossible. So for this challenge, all we're essentially doing is quickly switching focus between the 2 games. Just really badly.
Poorly.
But doing this over time causes the brain to use significantly more effort and energy, as it constantly has to onboard, offload, and restart tasks between the 2 scenarios, leaving you with what is essentially me trying to play this game and my brain getting so stressed out that it started producing cortisol to let me know it was having a mental breakdown.
Well, it's like you're dealing with probably half being generous, but like half brain power on each thing. And dude, my memory issues in the quick like second of swapping attention back and forth, I would constantly immediately forget what I was doing. That's why when I said like being ambidextrous to do like both games, I would get them mixed up, or just in general not know what any button did and just completely like lock down.
Yeah, I mean, you and me both, pal.
Thanks for understanding. I appreciate you, Zero. I'm so glad to be heard. Thank you. You know, that really means a lot coming from you.
This psychological debt, though, like the undisclosed 6-figure sum I owed my local casino, would build up and need to be paid eventually. But for the time being, we needed progress more than we needed rest, so I opted instead to take a loan out against that debt at 4,000% interest. With my cognitive credit score now in tatters, on attempt 5, I was still struggling to hit the broadside of a barn. What? Claire was still providing me with one of the audio sensory gaming experiences of all time.
Oh!
And Leon was, once again, doing his very best to throw the run.
Oh no, Leon!
This time, though, Claire does remember to take the correct door, as Leon is doing his best to escape the clutches of Mr. X. With the coast clear, both players safely rendezvous upstairs in the clock tower, where I once again go catatonic by staring directly into the RPD singularity.
What the fuck? Where am I?
But after
Oh,
Claire
no.
eventually escapes, she begins her return journey to Irons' office, leaving Leon to complete his work inside the clock tower. Claire manages to complete the puzzle and quickly take 5 to answer a private phone call, as Leon works on catching up to her in the story. He does have a slightly longer journey back to the prison and several more working parts to consider, such as a friendly reminder that half-eaten work colleagues may be closer than they appear.
Oh, hello!
Leaving Leon to self-sabotage on his way back down to the car park, Claire was about to begin everyone's favourite minigame with
Hello.
Sherry across town in the Escape from Epstein Island DLC. Now, if
Oh
we
my
had
God.
a penny for every time I felt like I'd wasted my life inside this orphanage, I'd have 2 pennies. Which, if you added to the number of pennies I had for every time I tried to throw this challenge with Leon, then we'd have way too many fucking pennies. Where are they all coming from? Executing quite possibly the worst prison escape since Season 5 of Prison Break, the stress wasn't over, as the orphanage with Sherry was no longer this tedious trope of a level, but was instead genuinely terrifying. After Sherry gives Irons an acid face peel to really give his tired skin a much-needed glow, we're forced to hide from him upstairs, which also required us to quickly map a custom controller layout so we could enable Sherry to crouch. But the unreliability of this configuration and the responsibility of also having to control Leon meant that all it would take was one mistake for Irons to spot us, and it was all over.
And I'm gonna guess that happens. Yep. Sit down, sit down, sit, sit!
Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
Thankfully, with Leon reaching his dedicated podcast
Thank God he
segment
heard
at
me.
Kendo's, all 3 of them can sit down to discuss the top 10 ways for creating a healthy bedtime routine for your child. Leaving Sherry to begin her final escape, where with Iron's stolen set of keys, we made a break for the exit, needing just one more camera change for us to reach the sewers. Needing just one more camera change, just one more camera change, just
Oh,
one
no.
more camera change to reach the sewers.
Oh no.
I'm coming, Sherry.
Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Oh my God, the camera, no!
Uh-oh. Oh no! No!
You fucking piece of shit. Oh. Finessed by a camera angle.
Usually when someone does something as embarrassing as this, they delete their social media, go into hiding, or move to Bulgaria under the new identity of Nikolai Nikolov. For me, however, I have to post these to the internet in some form of humiliation ritual that secretly I think I must enjoy. Unable to release any of my built-up rage due to my setup looking like a data center that could collapse in on itself if I moved just one cable, I need to just take a deep breath and... Hang on, actually, that's a great idea.
Marvin.
Having bottled enough runs that Arsenal had now been in touch about signing with them for next season, Attempt 6 still began with a renewed sense of optimism that still, despite these challenges that we had faced that were almost certainly 100% my fault, nothing was going to stand in my way of escaping that orphanage this time.
Hello?
This
Hello?
is a fucking joke, no?
Okay, except maybe that guy. For whatever reason, no attempt in this challenge ever seemed to go perfectly. There always seemed to be something that went wrong somewhere for someone. For example, if Leon got through to the clock tower perfectly, then Claire was forcibly altering my life expectancy by about 3 to 4 years. Oh my god. If Claire made it back to Irons' office, Leon was forgetting to bring the electrical box to the electrical box room.
Oh no!
Thankfully, though, in the one place that it mattered, this time we won our game of sex offender hide and seek, where it turns out all I needed to do 30 minutes ago was just turn right
Nice.
and press the joystick in. And that's it.
You're doing great.
Hey, did you hear that? Leaving Irons receiving what looked like a reverse enema, Leon was merging into Raccoon City's Poo motorway to successfully give Ada the ick by inadvertently giving himself concussion, whilst Claire was time-travelling into the past to receive directions from Irons to the orphanage, which, for a ransom hostage situation, were quite possibly some of the worst directions that I have ever heard given to another human.
In the neighborhood, you'll find it.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll just find it, shall I? Oh, wait,
Yeah,
maybe this guy
good
knows.
luck.
Hey, excuse me, you don't happen to know where the orphanage is? Thanks in part to linear game progression, though, it turns out we owed Irons an apology. The directions he gave weren't actually that bad at all. It is, in fact, in the neighborhood, and I will actually find it. So as Leon began his cutscenes with Ada and Annette in the sewers, Claire had escaped out of the underground car park along with her emotional support tyrant and slipped through the gate next to Kendo's to cross the adjoining housing estate to reach the orphanage. Once inside, Irons home births a thing directly onto the carpet before proceeding to immediately die in what surely makes this the most efficient orphanage on Earth. But whilst this was happening, deep below our feet, Ada had just finished clearing her corners using Leon's spleen to signal the start of her own dedicated section as Claire reunited with Sherry. Somehow, both women had managed to find themselves being chased through the sewers by bioweapon Ted Bundy at the exact same time, which I myself, despite being a man, also found this to be incredibly disconcerting. After Claire takes the lift straight through the ground floor and Ada cements her reputation in this game as a shit-tier spy, her adventure in the sewers concludes with her verbally assaulting another female worker while standing above a vat of
Jesus
human
Christ.
shit,
Fucking, you are fucking. You fucking, you bloody, bastard bitch.
leaving Claire to officially arrive inside the penultimate level of the game. Once through the upper levels of the sewer system and the control bridge, we jump down into the monitor save room, which would be the location of our second save of the run, but not
What?
the actual save of the run. In reality, preserving our progress had never been so close, yet so far.
Ooh.
To escape Raccoon City's sewer system, Leon and Claire would need to locate and retrieve 3 chess-inspired control plugs from wherever Magnus Carlsen had left them, so we can open up the door to the waste management system and rescue our respective partners, who had coincidentally somehow landed in the exact same place. Our second save of the challenge, though, isn't planned until just before we enter the waste management facility, meaning that standing between there and returning all the way back to the RPD again were the 2 iconic locations of the sewers, the disgusting and reprehensible location of the G Adult Red Light District, and this bridge on the West Walkway. As Leon arrived in the sewers himself, just as Claire had collected the reinforced frame for her SLS that turned this thing into a gas-powered lobotomizer, clearly one of these areas sounded
nice.
vastly more appealing than the one made exclusively out of solidified cat shit. But we still made the controversial choice of starting with the bioweapon sex dungeon first. Now, don't ask me why. At the time I thought it might be best to just get the worst of the 2 areas done first, but on reflection it might have been because I'm currently not in a sane state of mind. Truthfully though, whatever the answer was, it didn't really matter because just like investing in crypto, there is no limit to how many times you can lose 50% of your progress.
Oh no. Oh,
What is my camera doing? What is going on with my camera?
Uh-oh. Oh no! No, please! Please! Not like this! Please!
There's no way, man. This can't be real life.
Oh dear. Oh
I'm going
dear.
the wrong way. Fuck. And I'm dead.
Oh no. No!
Oh no. Again.
He got snapped.
Undeniably, this death had been caused by my controller locking
Oh,
itself into the
jeez.
camera orientation, and possibly also was a little bit my fault as well. But either
Yeah,
way,
user
I
error.
forcibly dragged Leon back to the RPD for the 7th time now. By this point, it felt like I was arresting myself for a crime I committed on myself. But as I wiped the tears from my eyes, it seemed as though my punishment for this mistake was going to be more abstract. Arriving back in the RPD, I wandered around the halls like a man lost in time, someone forced to live out 2 different timelines in the search for answers to questions he did not know. Like, why the f can I not move this bookcase? Well, that was because, technically, I've never been here before. It seemed just like this challenge, I was somehow living in the past, present, and future simultaneously, all at once. If deja vu was a form of schizophrenia, then let's just say I've seen this one before.
I forgot about
Oh
this
no.
motherfucker.
Because by this point, for all intents and purposes, I have gone completely and utterly insane.
But if we can harness the insanity, if we can control the there's not really a brain to control there, I'm gonna be honest, if you're insane. If we can divert the insanity outward, there's gotta be a way. But dude, getting things mixed up because you've done them and then you can't remember exactly where you are in like the save of what's been done, what you still have to do. Like, this is so much between two different games. And while I don't think that starting completely over from the beginning would make it easier, I very slightly think it would, because then you would start task from like the very beginning, but it would be so much like more pain to go all the way back. It seems to just be adding issues that you're able to restart at a certain point until you can remember what that point like needs. Like, what's the immediate next thing that you have to do.
But then again, if the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, then I'm not sure we fit the criteria. We did exactly the same thing on attempt 8, but got a completely different result. This time, Claire and Leon had shortened the considerable gap between their respective sewer starts, meaning both players entered the lower waterway around the same time as each other. Deciding that psychologically I was going to immediately return to the nesting grounds to overcome any possible performance anxiety of this area, the plan was to just gaslight myself and Claire into believing it would be fine. I was confident. I knew I could do this, and this time I wasn't going to make a single mistake. Oh shit, I forgot the crank.
It's okay. It's all right. Nothing can go perfectly.
Still, though, Claire kept her promise, as both her and Leon successfully passed their respective G-adult encounters, meaning Claire could begin violently plugging and unplugging switches inside the storage room, whilst Leon worked on reducing the sewer management payroll by 150%. After Claire leaves the nesting ground shortly afterwards without any further problems, both players pass each other outside the upper waterway, where Claire offers some words of encouragement to Leon as he begins his own trip through. Claire, how was the nesting ground? Fuck,
Fair
what
enough.
did I do? With progress looking good, Leon arrives at the storage room as Claire attempts to silently steal the rook plug up on the bridge by discreetly putting a grenade into the security manager's mouth to distract him. Her borderline clandestine work on the lower waterway concluded Claire's work in the sewers, but meant that history had once again repeated itself as we're forced to hemorrhage more precious time waiting in the monitor room for Leon so we can complete the second save of the run and progress the challenge. During this considerably anxious wait, Leon does, however, manage to complete his remaining duties averagely, collecting the flamethrower and the 3 remaining plugs, whilst Claire again tries to be as productive as possible, but hit with yet another costly 7-minute time loss, it fueled my concerns that we may have already done irreparable damage to the S+ rank. Was it already too late? Could this have been too much time wasted? Only time would tell. Yeah, I guess that is kind of how it works. One person who wasn't stressing though
Do you
was
not
Marvin,
know while
as
you're
with
going
the
through?
second save now made, we'd fulfilled his dying wish of never showing our face around the precinct again, meaning our final contribution to Raccoon City's sewer network was teaming up yet again for another simultaneous boss fight with Birkin 2.
Hi!
Tomorrow. Waking up on day 2 with my brain sufficiently rested, doctors or lifestyle coaches would likely recommend that you start your day with a healthy breakfast, perhaps some meditation, or maybe even a walk in the sun to reset your Cirque du Soleil rhythm. What they absolutely would not recommend you do is start your day with this shit.
Ooh! Oh no!
Okay, brilliant.
Oh! Oh! Oh,
What is going on? What am I doing?
This was certainly not the kind of morning routine that promotes a healthy and balanced lifestyle, but just like how plants photosynthesize, I actually harvest my nutrition from the elevated levels of cortisol this game was forcing my body to produce. Birkin in this fight is undoubtedly a massive piece of shit, and without the spare time to go back to the RPD for additional supplies or weaponry, we'd have to try and make this fight work with whatever we had left, which currently seem to be 3 boxes of out-of-date macaroni cheese, someone's front door key, enough acid to melt a human body inside a bathtub, a police-issued taser, whatever this is, multiple packets of the same lettuce that's causing Americans to gain the explosive diarrhea debuff, and a chemical flamethrower.
hey, you can do a lot with a lot of this, okay? Now, I don't know about some things, but I mean, this side is looking pretty deadly, ain't gonna lie. And then if you mix them all together, I think you've got exactly what you need to get this done.
Now, this might not seem like a lot, but actually, it is. In terms of damage output, Leon's flamethrower is on par with Claire's ability to turn herself into a PS1 game, meaning our focus for Birkin 2 was to try and speedrun Leon's fight as quickly as possible so we can turn our attention over to Claire, whose fight is slightly more, demanding.
Oh,
When the fight
jeez.
starts, by throwing a grenade with Leon, we can immediately trigger Birkin to open the door for us, where with Claire left behind the safety of these barrels, we can head straight out into the arena to get a head start on the fight. Around about the time we added becoming a Burns victim to the list of grievances Birkin would be bringing against Umbrella in his upcoming employment tribunal, Claire was also en route into the arena, which was coincidentally where the fight descended into absolute chaos. But despite this absolute mess, Leon holds up his end of the bargain, leaving Claire just needing this knife and a flash grenade to put Birkin 2 behind us for good. It's just a couple of items, right? Nothing crazy. Surely nothing bad could possibly happen here. Oh shit.
Oh. I don't like the slow-mo. I don't like the slow-mo.
Oh, thank God for that.
Through the power of friendship and possibly
Making me
divine
nervous.
intervention, Claire had somehow managed to make up for her poorly timed button press by dragging both players through to nest. But with time continuing to seep away, once both players had arrived inside the final chapter of the game, there was no more room for error. After immediately making an error, Leon's quicker completion of Birkin 2 meant that he was the first character to reach the lab. Using Claire's cutscene where her and Annette diagnose Sherry with stage 4 pink eye, we take a shortcut through the cafeteria to reach the level 2 wristband and have to constantly remind employees down here that trying to kiss people you don't know on the mouth without asking first is not cool. Claire was now in the process of transporting Sherry to the monorail as I was once again giving myself completely voluntary heart attacks on my way to the greenhouse.
Jesus!
But using that next cutscene wisely, we'd made it all the way to the Ivy's domain to receive a very well-timed reminder that just one lapse in judgment down here was all it would take for us to be immediately sent back to begin collecting shipping containers with our face again. The Ivies were a weird sort of enemy. Being grabbed by one was like staring death directly in the face.
That's a cool
But
design.
if you had a defense item on you, then they were practically the most pathetic enemy in the game. That being said, if you found yourself needing a defense item but didn't have one, then you have a big problem. As Leon began unlocking the areas within the greenhouse, female Redfield was working through the cafeteria in her attempts to catch up to her work colleagues' starting pace. You get it. Catch up, right?
Oh,
By the time Claire
boo.
had reached the greenhouse herself, Leon was already downstairs in the lounge, taking on the role of the world's most violent alarm clock, before quietly making our return trip back with the signal modulator to restore power to the rest of the floor. Cooling Leon's liquid down so we can begin dispersing plant COVID through the air conditioning system, Claire was only just beginning synthesis of her first iteration of the compound upstairs, which actually worked in our favour. Overall, out of the two of us, Claire is definitely the one who's further ahead time-wise, so it not only prevents her from losing even more time, but gives Leon a chance to focus on his more dangerous escape out of the greenhouse. Grouping the Ivies up together, we created a clearer route for our escape with the level 3 wristband, and arriving back inside the central core, Leon's progress was now safe. I mean, if there ever was such a thing. Following in his footsteps, Claire had repowered the rest of B2, cooled her own liquid, and helped to try and trigger a fatal heart attack on her way out. No! Unsure if I'd ever forgive my own brain for trying to kill me, we're able to slip through the greenhouse and reunite safely with Leon inside the G-Virus testing lab, completing our third and final save of the challenge to put us just 10 minutes away from the end of the game.
Okay, how badly can things get in the next 10 minutes? Because being so close to freedom, things cannot go smoothly. It is law of chaos that the most ludicrous bullshit now must happen.
But whilst we may have completed 90% of the game, we still had 90% to go, as just like entering any IKEA on the planet, the hardest part of this challenge was now trying to leave. Clearly, the Swedish cannot be trusted, but neither can I to complete this final section of the challenge. In the penultimate boss fight of the scenario, both players are expected to act as impromptu divorce mediators, working with both parties to liquidate the appropriate assets before we manage to liquidate ourselves. As each boss fight became more difficult, so did the complexity of trying to complete them simultaneously with both players. T-Rex Birkin stretched just how far I could overclock my brain without thermal throttling it like an Intel CPU, as the amount of factors we had to consider here skyrocketed.
Oh
was
no.
relentless. There was no way to buy ourselves space or time. We risked instant death without a defense item, resources were running critically low, and for some reason, Annette would not stop screaming at us to get her emergency medical help. Yes, Annette, can you not see I'm a little busy? Clearly, this was too much for the mind of one feeble man. So just like undervolting your 14900K to prevent it from evaporating, I needed to find some way to limit the amount of variables here and free up some cognitive processing power to start making any meaningful progress on any character. And just like most of life's problems, this one can be solved with the correct application of white powder. And no, Scarface, I'm not talking about that white powder. I'm talking about the white gunpowder.
Oh.
Throughout the game, Claire and Leon both receive their own unique gunpowders, which are used for crafting scenario-exclusive ammo, and one of Claire's produces the acid round. Now, in the cutscene just before this fight, we see Annette allude to the fact that her husband is weak to acid, meaning if we timed our shots correctly with Claire, we could stunlock Birkin indefinitely. Armed with the 34 acid rounds I'd managed to stockpile throughout the game, if we sat inside the exit lift with Claire, we prevented her from being pushed or moved around the arena, meaning all we had to do, in fact, the only thing we had to do, was just sit here, reload, and shoot.
Oh.
What is my purpose?
You sit here and shoot acid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, welcome to the party, pal. Leaving Claire to come to terms with her immediate future, we can begin doing what we can with Leon. His
That's
extremely
pretty
decrepit
good as a
inventory left us
cheese.
with a far more challenging fight with his G3, which certainly helps to make Claire's supposedly easier task of just simply pressing shoot and reload harder to focus on when Leon was having the piss stripped out of him.
Oh my god.
A delay of as little as a few seconds was enough for Claire to qualify for her own generational beating, but after a few attempts of committing the timing to memory, on attempt 14 she was finally able to defeat her variant of Birkin and leave us to focus on doing the same with Leon, which went so badly that we ended up having to resort to the Matilda. By the time Leon was done,
nice.
Annette had successfully managed to offload her childcare to Claire, who'd made it with Sherry to the emergency lift, leaving the resident twink to engage in a heated argument with his KGB handler.
And you shoot me. But I don't think you can.
What was that? Entering the final leg of the challenge, Claire and Sherry were just about to reach the turntable as Leon entered the emergency lift, arriving downstairs in time to receive a call from Claire telling him to board the Southwestern train service to anywhere else but here. But just like trying to get on any train in this country, our expected arrival at the results screen would now be delayed, as the next stop on this service wasn't home.
Hi.
It was here.
Ooh, two totally different bosses now?
Claire and Leon both have one final test that comes in the form of a decisive showdown with the flesh nexus that was Birkin's fourth mutation and the most sinister bioweapon of all, a left-handed person. Both of these fights are extremely involved, but Leon also has to consider the looming threat of being instantly penetrated from behind. Wait a second, that sounds kind of weird. After throwing her two grenades, Claire can use her significantly larger arena to her advantage by creating plenty of distance to give us time to concentrate on doing whatever we could with Leon. Realistically,
Nice.
all we needed was to last 2 minutes. That was it, and we'd be thrown the rocket launcher, arrive at the bottom of the lift, and reach the safety of the end credits menu. Clinging to Mr. X's side, we wasted as much time as possible, using flash grenades to buy ourselves whatever distance we could, and waiting for the visual cues of the rocks falling into the arena. These would indicate to us that Mr. X's insta-kill attacks were moments away from starting, giving us a small warning to begin preparing our flash grenades.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Apparently unable to count, whilst you could say we were getting closer and closer to the results screen, psychologically this final fight had created a widening chasm that was putting the S+ rank further and further out of our reach. Having again committed to waterboarding Birkin with hydrochloric acid within just a few attempts, we'd earned ourselves a second shot at redemption. To make this possible, our best chance, no, our only chance, was for Claire to once again sacrifice her own happiness for Leon. It was a risk. Claire had already accrued the most wastage out of the two players, but all we needed was 2 minutes.
That's crazy that during this, I guess it's how like the stories are paced for them to get to like the same point that Claire has to just kind of like stand around and wait on Leon. Very interesting.
Just 2 minutes. And this just might be possible.
You can do it. I believe.
This is rough.
Nice. No, not nice. Not nice. Okay.
Oh shit. This was it. In less than 20 seconds, this cutscene would end, and with nothing left in my inventory but a hope and a dream, we would either be halfway to beating this challenge and finally seeing my wife and children again, or we'd lose everything.
No, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on!
Oh, please.
Get him! Get him!
Oh my god!
It turns out the real reason behind Leon's back being curved like a banana in RE9 was because of the sheer weight of this challenge's success he'd just carried in this one moment. Scoliosis Kennedy had made it to the end credits, but as we already knew, this was far from over. Claire was still in the middle of fighting for her life, and currently it wasn't going very well.
Oh no!
Thanks to some rather extravagant wastage earlier in the game, we'd left ourselves short on ammo for this final fight, leaving us with no other choice but to try and remember some of the basics of CQC.
Oh my god.
Health items quickly ran out, and before long, so had time. Not just
Oh
for
no.
the facility, but possibly for the challenge as well. This certainly wasn't helping my stress levels, particularly
no.
as from the moment Leon had reached the end credits, the game had been trying to overstimulate me into a mental health crisis.
I'm so overstimulated right now. This music's driving me insane. Jesus Christ.
It seemed as though Claire had sacrificed herself, and non-consensually Sherry as well, so that Leon could escape, which, considering the rules of this challenge, was a pointless gesture. Never imagining myself wishing for a world where all I had were 7 minutes to spare, we now face the possibility of heartbreaking defeat, right at the
You can do it.
very end.
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Oh my god, please be dead.
Minute.
It's over. Or is it over? I actually don't know how long that took me. It could be really over.
With only 60 seconds remaining, we'd probably cut this fight about as close as you ever could. And whilst the achievement of beating the game simultaneously had been completed, celebrations were currently on hold, as the real result of the challenge was yet to be decided.
Surely. Surely.
Oh my god.
You know, you can't do much in 39 seconds. You could maybe walk downstairs, make half a cup of tea, or put a battery in your microwave and cause a gas explosion inside your house.
Don't do
But
that.
here, on planet Earth, in these United Kingdoms, 39 seconds was all it took to save this challenge, and my sanity. Yes, if you quite literally put your mind to it and disregard licensed medical advice, you can in fact beat both of RE2 Remake scenarios on the game's hardest difficulty and achieve its highest rank, all at the exact same time. From the very beginning to the very end, Claire and Leon had overcome adversity, emotional heartbreak, and suffered genuine psychological trauma to survive this challenge just as the game had intended. Together.
Yay!
This is for the record. History is written by the victor.
Yay! That was sick! All right. Several times during this, I was on the edge of my seat. Honestly, the stress of having to so quickly both learn how to play 2 games independently, learn how to split your focus, and then trying to remember everything that you have to do once you do reset, I would not have made it through like the first obstacle. So a huge shout out to Zero for entertaining us with something truly crazy impressive. Please make sure you go check out the original video. It's gonna be linked down below. If you like my video, make sure you like and subscribe so I can see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.